Motorcycles are dangerous. There is no doubt about that. According to the US National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, your chances of dying on a motorcycle are 35 times higher than in a car. Now you know why most of our moms hate the motorcycles. Technologies like traction control, ABS have made the motorcycles a much safer machine than they ever was. But still, it is impossible to remove the risk factor from the equation entirely. Today in this video, we will discuss the 5 most common and dangerous crashes and ways to avoid them so that you can stay safe while enjoying the ride. So without any further ado, let's get started. Number 1 is the loss of traction on a wet road. The chances are you probably involved in this accident at least once. Whenever the sky opens up and started to pouring out, this will be the most common type of motorcycle accident that you will encounter or witness on the road. Some people are even afraid to take their motorcycles on the road during the rainy season just because they think that they will end up in a crash. But believe me, with some precautions, you can really enjoy the monsoon riding season. The most important thing to look for on your motorcycle is the tire. Is it worn out? Or does it have enough tread pattern to channel the water out of the contact patch? If not, then it's time to change it. In wet conditions, the tire is the single most important part of your motorcycle that influences the traction. So please don't cheap out on that. And don't put a super sticky racing slick on your motorcycle in the monsoon season. Another important area is the braking. Following the natural instinct, most riders tend to jam on the brakes when they encounter an emergency situation. In summer, that may work. But on a wet road, I promise you that it will probably end up in a crash. When you hammer on the brakes in the wet condition, the front tire tends to lose traction much faster than the rear since it has comparatively smaller contact patch. Slamming on the front brake will cause the front to wash out, resulting in a crash. So ride at a pace in which you are confident that you can brake safely in case of an emergency. Also, be gentle with your brakes on the wet road. And don't slam on the brakes, especially in the front, like you do in the dry conditions. And try to use both brakes progressively in order to slow down. But if you're that kind of guy who like to go fast regardless of the weather, get a motorcycle with ABS. It will reduce the risk of brake lockup and can make huge improvement in the braking performance, especially in the wet. Number 2 is overshooting in a corner. This is one of the most common beginner mistakes. Sometimes it even happens to an experienced rider. Going fast in a straight line doesn't require much skill. But if you want to have the same thrill while going through a corner, it requires much more than just twisting the throttle. Having the right set of skills is as important as having the right tool for the job when it comes to canyon carving. Each year, many riders around the world lost their lives due to this rider error. Most of these crashes happens due to 2 main reasons. 1, overconfidence, and 2, the lack of judgment of the road. First of all, always keep in mind that you are riding on a public road, not in a racetrack. In a racetrack, you can utilize the whole space available to choose the correct and the fastest line. But on the road, the space is limited. In a racetrack, if you happen to enter a corner too fast, you will probably slide onto the gravel or may hit the barricade made out of tires, which probably won't do too much harm. But on the road, you will ride onto the oncoming vehicle on the opposite lane. So only ride as fast as you can see and use the visual clues like telephone poles, boulders and signs to judge the road's direction. But even if you still find yourself going too fast into a corner, have a little faith in your motorcycle, because by this point it is almost clear that it is really you that's not capable of making it, not your motorcycle. Take as much lane out of your motorcycle as possible by hanging off, but don't try to push it to the corner. Look where you want to go and be smooth as possible on the controls. Please don't hammer on the brakes or abruptly close the throttle or do anything else that may upset the balance of the motorcycle, causing a loss of traction. Just keep calm, hold that lean angle, look for the corner exit and ride it out. Number 3 is the Highsider. The Highsider is a nerve-wracking experience. It results from the loss of traction in the rear wheel followed by the sudden recovery of traction. It creates a large torque which flips the rider head off to the side of the motorcycle or over the handlebar. The Highsider can happen due to many reasons, like locking the rear wheel through excessive braking, applying too much throttle when exiting a corner, or too much lean. This can also happen when you try to drift the motorcycle sideways. For street riders, the most common reason for Highsider is excessive braking and excess throttle application in the corner exit. In a scenario where it requires maximum braking power, it's quite easy to exceed that maximum level. At that point, the rear tire gets locked up and the tires start to slide into one direction or the other. Following the natural instinct, the rider will release the brake which causes the tire to suddenly regain traction. This creates the torque which causes the motorcycle to suddenly enter into a jerky motion in the upright direction, or otherwise known as Highsider. The same goes for excessive throttle application, where instead of brakes, the rider abruptly modulates the throttle which causes the tire to lose traction and then suddenly regain it. In order to avoid the Highsider, you need to avoid doing these 3 things. First, locking the rear wheel by jamming on the brake. Second, even if you did manage to lock the rear wheel, don't release it suddenly. And third, be careful with the throttle in the corner exit. Now, you might be thinking that it's easier to say than done. And you're right. When you are in a corner, there's not a lot of traction available at the rear tire. So it is quite easy to lock the rear tire. If you do, keep it locked and slide it to a stop. You won't Highside unless you release the rear brake. Also, be gentle with your throttle in the corner exit. Chopping on your throttle will vary the grip levels available at the rear tire, leading to a Highsider. If you find all this intimidating, get a motorcycle with the traction control. Problem solved. Number 4 is the Lowsider. Unlike the Highsider, if the crash occurred only due to the loss of traction, it's called Lowsider. Like the Highsider, most of the times this one also happens during cornering, when either the front or the rear wheel slides out as a result of too much braking into the corner, or too much acceleration through or out of the corner, or too much speed carried into or through the corner for the available grip. It may also be caused by the unexpected slippery or loose material road surface. In simple words, Lowsider crash happens when the braking force or the turning force or both exceeds the friction available on either tire. Wearing a leather or textile suit, the one with armor in shoulder, knees and elbows, will prevent the loss of skin since you are most likely to slide all over the road. Generally, comparing to the Highsider, the Lowsider is harmless unless you slide off into the cliff of a mountain or into a tree or into an 18-wheeler in the oncoming lane. So, what's the best way to avoid it? Slow in and fast out. Enter a corner in a pace where your reaction time and ability to take action fit within your range of vision. Also, if the traffic condition allows, enter a corner wide. It will improve your range of vision, helping you to pick up better speed on the way out of the corner. Be careful while grabbing the front brake in the corner, because the front tire can easily lose traction under hard braking. If the front tire skids, you can regain the traction by releasing the brake. Number 5. Getting rear-ended. Getting hit from behind is probably one of the most annoying things for a car driver. On a motorcycle, however, it can be deadly. Avoiding this simple type of collision is important, but much more crucial if you are on a motorcycle. It takes more than a working brake light to prevent being thrown into a busy intersection or crushed like a bug between two bumpers. Among the car guys, this crash is known as a fender bender. But this seemingly innocent fender bender can kill a motorcyclist. So, the big question is, how to avoid it? The rear-end collision happens due to two main reasons. First, the carelessness of the car driver. Second, the lack of visibility for the car driver, especially in the dark. The visibility aspect carries a great importance. Let's start with your gear. Most of the riders would like to go all black simply because it looks cool. But when the sun is down, it can pretty much make you a ghost on the road. The ignorant and the drunk drivers will have a hard time in noticing you. So be visible and wear something that can make you notice instantly, especially in the night. A bright jacket and a helmet are the easiest place to start. Another thing to do in order to avoid getting screwed over from behind is to stop to the side rather than in the center of the lane. Repeatedly flash your brake light by tapping on the brake lever. Pay attention to what's coming up behind you and be prepared to scoot away if someone is about to crush you from behind. So what do you guys think? Did I miss anything? If I did, please mention that in the comment section below. And if you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. And hey, don't forget to subscribe. See you guys next time. Ride safe.